Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Aikal bin Maknawi and my metric number is 059401. And right now I want to review the case Loh Muifah and Dr. Selvakumar, Thirunavukarasu. The case was held in High Court in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The summary of the key facts in the case. First, Loh Muifah is the plaintiff. The first defendant was Dr. Selvakumar Thirunavukarasu, who was the chief news editor of the second defendant, the Malaysian daily newspaper The Star at the time. The third defendant was a journalist who worked for the second defendant at the time, and the third defendant published an article in The Star titled "Judges Must Read Submission." The plaintiff alleged that the defendants published defamatory comments about him in the article. The plaintiff claimed that the remarks in the section of the article authored by the third defendant alluded to the plaintiff and were defamatory of him. Next, I'm going to talk about the issue. First issue is whether the words complained of in the section of the article were defamatory of the plaintiff. The holding for the issue is, without a doubt, the plaintiff in the video footage, and the court is satisfied that the words complained of, when read in the context of the article and in conjunction with the transcript of the video recording, demonstrate that the remarks complained of refer to the plaintiff and no one else. To an ordinary reader, the literal and obvious interpretation of the words complained of was that they clearly implied that the plaintiff was seeking assistance from the person with whom he was conversing in order to use that person's connection with certain judges to influence the outcome of the case in which the plaintiff was involved. The second issue is whether the defendants could succeed in their defense of qualified privilege. And the holding from the court about the issue is, the publication by the defendants is manifestly untrue and defamatory of the plaintiff. In such a case, malice on the part of the defendants can be inferred, especially since other media outlets could have reported it accurately, but the defendants did not. If there was no malice, the defendants would not have recklessly published the fake story without first checking the facts from the plaintiff and interpreting the actual video footage properly. The defendants have also failed to rely on the common law defense of qualified privilege according to the court. And the last issue, which is the third, what would be the damage to be paid by the defendants to the plaintiff? And holding from that issue from the court, based on the doctrine of separation of powers, it was found that learned counsel for the plaintiff positioned that the plaintiff is well known publicly as someone who has fought to guarantee the sanctity of the judicial system is safeguarded against external intervention was upheld. As a result, the plaintiff enjoys a reputation that holds him in high regard among right-thinking people of society. The second and third defendants were instrumental in the publication of material alleging that the plaintiff was in the habit of interfering with the judiciary and the fair of disposition of cases, and that he was involved in bribing the judges appointed to hear those specific matters to ensure favorable outcomes. This claim has strong overtones of serious criminal behavior. And last but not least, the summary of court's reasoning. To summarize the evidence, the first defendant had no involvement in the publication of the news article. This is because Datuk Sri Wong Chung Wai, which is the group chief editor, makes the final decision on publication instead. and when the case was approved, the first defendant was not present. And in my opinion, the plaintiff should have sued the group chief editor and not the first defendant. Result from the court, the plaintiff claim against the first defendant was dismissed by the court, and the plaintiff was ordered to pay the first defendant Rm 15,000 in costs. The court ordered the second and third defendants to pay the plaintiff Rm 150,000 for general damage, aggravated damage, and exemplary damage. And that's all from me reviewing the case. Thank you.